It sounds like you kind of agree with like the vegan morality, so I'm curious, like, where does that leave you? What's up, everybody? My name is Natalie. I'm here with Trinity, and today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man. So I told you we were talking about Spider-Man, and you immediately knew the quote I was going to talk about. What is that quote? Do you remember?
With great power comes great responsibility.
What do you think about it?
I think that it's very universal. It's one of those quotes that you can apply to your life, like in any given situation.
So what are your general thoughts on veganism as of now?
I think it's a great idea to be a vegan. I was raised with Seventh-day Adventist parents, and so one of the things that really taught me was healthy eating and staying away from certain foods, especially like pork and shellfish and stuff like that.
Do you think most people who have power in the world, do they live by that quote, or do you think they abuse their power, or what?
I think that most people who have a lot of power are very arbitrary, and they definitely abuse their power because nobody is holding them accountable.
Do you think in this day and age, do we need to eat animals?
I think yes, but of course there are alternatives to eating animals, soy, all that stuff. But I think yes, because we grew up throughout history eating animals. I mean, that's the way our ancestors were. They hunted, they ate every single part of the animal. That's the way the Native Americans did, and that's the way I think we should do it now.
Do you think as individuals, do we have any power?
We all have power, but we all have to take it for ourselves. We can't wait for nobody to give it to us.
That is typically how it's done, like in industrial agriculture. We do use all of the animal, whether that's for gelatin or not. So Do you think industrial agriculture is okay?
I think it's okay as long as it's humane.
What would be like a humane way to kill an animal?
Grass-fed cows that are killed, humanely.
What do you think about the way that humans have kind of dominated the world in regards to like our treatment of animals?
Ego,
yeah.
Putting a human perspective in a non-human environment and kind of, taking it upon yourself to feel like you can play God and change somebody's fate or change an animal's fate instead of just respecting the natural order of life and death cycle.
How are they killed? Do you know?
I am not 100% sure.
I'll tell you, and then let me know if you think it's humane.
Okay.
So typically they'll get a bolt gun to the head. They'll be put in like this box, and it's supposed to knock them unconscious before their throats are slit. It malfunctions at least 12% of the time. A lot of times they're fully conscious even after they're bled out, and they go to the leather machine and their skin's pulled off. They're still conscious during that.
Yeah.
So do you think that's humane?
No, not at all. Oh, totally. I think most of the ways are big chains like Tyson and places like that. They say our meat is farm raised or our meat is never in cages. They still kill them wrong.
Would you say that we have the right to just kill animals whenever we want?
No, indeed. But I also feel like if it's for a purpose, like, to sustain life, you respect that life, but you also give thanks for, taking that life to add to your life.
Yeah, I'm curious, like in the meat and dairy industry, do you think there's any like respect for animals?
I think that the meat and dairy industry has definitely abused their power and the ecology.
Do you like animals?
I do, and I think it's kind of fucked up with what we're doing at the industrial level.
How badly do you think they're treated in the meat and dairy industry?
Badly, like you're talking about cows and pigs, they're all crammed up in tiny spaces.
What about chickens?
Same thing too. Free range is such a marketing gimmick. It's bad.
So do you personally consume animal products?
Yes, but ethically.
How so?
I like to encourage free range, locally sustained animals, farm raised.
So you don't believe the labels or anything?
No, organic my ass.
Yeah, there's not much oversight, and now kind of the new one is local, right? They're like, oh, it's local. But like you could have a local factory farm, right? So like, how does that even make sense? When you look at small local farms, they also sell to the same slaughterhouses. Did you know that?
No.
It's crazy because, farmers, they don't want to kill their own animals because, they like their animals. So they typically sell them. The slaughterhouse will come pick them up, or they'll drive them to the slaughterhouse. So it doesn't really matter where they're raised. They're still going to be killed in the same way. Do you think there's like an ethical way to kill an animal? Like what would that look like? If you don't need to survive, like if you could eat something else, is there an ethical way to kill an animal?
I feel like yes, there is a proper way to do it, and that also follows into a lot of the tribal and indigenous ways that were, done before modern human society. And since we're not in survival mode, we have a lot of time to think about what's ethical and what's not ethical.
Like, yeah, we have the power, the responsibility to do so, right?
Yes.
You said that we do need to eat meat to survive.
Yeah.
Do you think we do to survive and thrive?
I think, yes, I think there's just something in meat that God created animals, of course. I believe that God created animals so that man could survive.
Do you have any arguments like against veganism, or like what's the main thing stopping you from doing it?
Matter of fact, like according to the Bible, that's how we were raised too. It was only because of that big flood in the Old Testament that we started eating meat.
Is there anything in the Bible that's said in the Bible that you would disagree with now?
I would disagree that man is over the beast of the field. It says something like man.
Dominion.
Beast of the field. Yeah, something like that. I would disagree with that strongly.
Okay.
I think we should coexist with them, but we're not over them and they're not over us.
Do you think we are doing that?
No, totally no. No, not at all.
So it sounds like you kind of disagree with what's currently going on in animal farming. However, you think that if it's done the right way, it's okay.
Yes.
Kind of the point of ethics is to put yourself in someone else's point of view. So for example, like if you were looking from the animal's point of view, would you think that there was a good way for someone to kill you, or would you prefer to live your life out in peace?
If I was an animal, I don't think I would have the same mindset as a human would.
Yeah.
So I don't even think I would have as much consciousness to look that deeply as we as humans do, because historically we do have dominion over animals. So I don't know, I can't answer that.
Another interesting thing I've kind of learned is that most people are against this industrial farming, but like I said, 99% of meat comes from these factory farms. Meanwhile, 75% of consumers believe they're buying from local farms. So it's almost like animal agriculture has been putting out propaganda, selling us a lie of happy animals and happy farms. In reality, it's not economically possible because they would have to keep the animals alive for so much longer than is profitable. So there's really no way to do animal farming in a really happy way. Does that change how you feel about it at all?
It changes a little bit. I want to buy from small local farms, but maybe that's not such a good idea anymore.
What do you think is more important, like the taste pleasure you get from like chicken and cheese or animals' lives?
Unfortunately, it's the taste. It's just so good. It's the grease. It's the sugar. We're addicted to it naturally.
Right.
But at least for me, I'm educated on this. I know what I am putting into my body.
We're definitely in a time where we can be more conscious. You don't need to eat a steak every day. It's okay to indulge. I'm not gonna shame you because you craving a burger and you telling everybody you vegan. Nah, do what you want.
I don't really care if people call themselves vegan or whatever, but I do care about if you eat a cheeseburger, then that cow had to suffer, right? Which we've agreed is bad. So it sounds like you kind of agree with the vegan morality. So I'm curious, where does that leave you?
I think that there's truth to everything, and there's also a shadow and a flaw in everything. And that leaves me with saying always introspect with what you feel and hear, if it's right and if it's not right. That feeling.
Do you think the taste morally justifies it?
No, it's not. It's so immoral of us. It's bad. It's bad.
Okay, so it sounds like your morals are in line with veganism's, but your actions aren't. Would that be accurate?
What we need to do is have world leaders and world governments actually take action on this. Unfortunately, money comes first.
If you found out that you didn't need meat to survive, that you could get all your nutrients from plants, is that something you'd be?
I would, yeah, because I typically try to stay away from red meat and just eat turkey and chicken and fish because it's better for you. So I wouldn't have a problem with that.
You would consider not buying animal products from stores and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. If I have the knowledge to make a better choice, for sure.
You're gonna be toppling an entire industry.
I hope so.
We are.
Yes,
we
we
all
are. Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
Hell yeah. We could do so much. Half of the land in the U.S. is dedicated toward animal farming. We got a housing
It's
crisis.
time to transition
Hell yeah.
from that.
Hell yeah. High five, man. Thanks for watching today. If you want to see another video, click to your left. If you want to become a patron, click the link in the description. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, Deepak, Rebecca, and Steven.